Okay, question. When you think about the journey the Israelites were on to get from being rescued from slavery in Egypt to entering their promised land, if I asked you why it took them longer, what would you say? Because if you're anything like myself, what always came to my mind was that they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years due to their disobedience and lack of faith in God. And of course, that's a very real and important component of the story. We shouldn't ignore it. We need to learn from it. However, there's a verse I think we often overlook, and I hope it will be encouraging for you today. Okay, so to set the scene, the Israelites have been rescued out of Egypt in a pretty spectacular way. They're on their way out. Pharaoh and his army are chasing after them on their tail, and we get to this point. So I'm going to read Exodus 13:17-18. When Pharaoh finally let the people go, God did not lead them along the main road that runs through the Philistine territory, even though that was the shortest route to the promised land. God said if the people are faced with a battle, they might change their minds and return to Egypt. So God led them in a roundabout way through the wilderness toward the Red Sea. So here we see, even before they ever disobeyed, God took them the long way around. Not because of anything that they did wrong, not because he was disciplining them, but because he knew what they would face if they had been taken the shorter route, and he wanted to ensure that they entered the land he promised them. They were just rescued from slavery for 400 years, so freedom was new, but so was their faith. The longer way was mercy, not delay. And notice, this is the moment they face the Red Sea. So not only is it the long way around, but now they're facing the impossible. He took them directly to what looked like a dead end. But this is where God shows up in another miraculous way, and he splits the sea. They walk across on dry land, and this is where their faith in him and his salvation is strengthened. So if you're in a place where God has spoke something to you, he's promised you something, you've surrendered, you've allowed him to lead, you're doing what he asks, and it still seems like it's taking forever, remember, God knows what's up ahead. He knows the perfect route and the timeline for you. He knows the path that will strengthen your faith and reliance on him. And he's so faithful to his word that he will make sure it comes about. And even if it's taking long and it feels like you're up against the impossible, God is still the God who can and will part the sea.